So if you aren't doing this already, you are wasting so much time, and you could be getting through so many more of your projects and your tracks way quicker. So say for me, right, I use Logic Pro and I go to open a new project and I kind of get a screen that looks like this, and here's the layout. Chances are if I'm making a beat or a sample, I'm probably going to want at least like 5-7 tracks, sometimes even more than that. That's going to mean loading up a bunch of different VSTs, and I'm sure you do this where you have like the same sort of 2, 3, maybe even just one VST that you use, whether it's Omnisphere, Analog Lab, or maybe it's just stock VSTs that come with your program, FL, Ableton, Logic, but you're still going to be using a lot of the same plugins at the very least, like EQ, reverb, compression, and having to load all those things up on individual tracks every single time you start a new project is going to eat so much of your time. So what I'm talking about using here is obviously going to be templates. You need to be using templates. If you're not, you don't need to, because you don't need to do anything in music. There's no rules, but it's definitely going to save you a lot of time. And so for me as a sample maker, when I'm going to start a new sample or a loop, this is my template. When I open it, these are all the tracks that I have loaded up. Now I use Omnisphere a lot. I use Analog Labs. I use Scorch, Diva. Now you'll notice that if I click on these tracks, I also have all these plugins already loaded up. Again, EQ, compression, reverb, halftime, some other ones that I like to use. And then not only that, but I have them routed to buses, which I also like to use a lot. So when I start a project, everything is there ready to go. You know, I almost always use a bass in my samples, so I like to have those loaded up on the different VSTs that I use. I've got 2 audio tracks for recording guitar, recording vocals, that already has compression, auto tune, you know, a bunch of different plugins, but this just saves me so much time and it just has me ready to go. And back when I used to make beats, I also had, again, all the drum sounds I would typically use. Now I would swap them out, but I have the hi-hat pattern there ready. I have the clap or the snare pattern. So I just want to reiterate that there are pros and cons. And one of the cons I will mention is, in my experience, having a set template can sometimes leave you making a lot of the same sounding stuff, because for example, my projects would start at the same tempo. So I'd have a habit of staying in that same tempo range or using those same sounds. Now, on the flip side, that can also be a good thing, because then you can develop a more cohesive and consistent sound. So it's really up to you how you make your templates. You know, you can definitely make more loose ones. You don't have to use as many plugins as maybe I use. I'm sure there's people who use way more. The amount of samples I make and projects that I start, it would just have taken me so much more time if I had to load every single VST and plugin from scratch. And sometimes that stuff just takes even longer to load as well, because the CPU on your computer or you know, your laptop is a bit slow to load some of these plugins. So if you just have them there already, that's also going to save you that sort of time. I'm curious what you guys do with your templates. Do you have one? Do you not? Are you going to start making one? And what kind of templates do you use as well? Let me know.